kind of a very beautiful community. Elon Musk's obsession with the UK continues, and in his latest intervention on X, he claims that civil war in my country is inevitable. Let's do an educational breakdown of this behavior that is as impulsive and self-persecutory, actually, as it is destructive in the external world. Now, firstly, it's malign foreign interference in UK democracy. Because Musk is not saying this as a private citizen. He is saying it as a holder of part of the infrastructure of democracy. Because part of the infrastructure of democracy, our public squares, are in our societies held by random potato chip companies. And Elon Musk just happens to be a potato chip company owner. The second thing to understand is that the only place where there are multiple and rigid and impulsive civil wars going on is inside Musk's head. And he is drawn to conflicts in the outside world that mirror the conflicts inside his head. 3. There are also irresponsible actors from the UK who share posts and memes with Musk directly, to which he overreacts. But as well as doing that, he just doom scrolls. And he mistakes doom scrolling not just for insight, but for a kind of certain knowledge about the nature of UK politics. Because if you put Musk in a private room with Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, Musk won't say, oh yeah, I'm messing around online, but that's just what I do, deal with it. He'll say, oh my God, can't you see that this is happening? Can't you see that you really are on the path to this? Why can't you see it? It's so clear to me. I mean, I've read 77 tweets about it, and now I understand. Why don't you understand? There must be something bad going on, or I just don't get why you don't understand. So there is a kind of a seraphic, naive certainty to Musk's sense that he absolutely knows the UK. And when people tweet back at him, like Rory Stewart, these people don't know the UK. They can't know the UK because Musk does know it. And so it's not his job to work out what's exactly gone epistemically wrong for these UK people, that they don't understand their own country, but he quite certainly does. Now, in practice, and this is one of the important points to make here, perhaps the fourth point, there is genuinely a legitimacy gap between Western citizens and their government's policies on immigration. And the UK is included in these Western countries where that legitimacy gap exists. The trouble is that you can't solve this gap with technocratic centrist policies. But you also can't solve it with the apocalyptic, fascicized fantasies of the ex-conservative right, of the kind that Musk would probably advance when you asked him what his solutions would be. And this takes us to a very, very difficult political problem that's especially present in a society where there is a crisis of trust. And that's when you make a valid critique of something that's going wrong, but you offer a solution more toxic and more destructive than the current solution that's failing, your more toxic and destructive solution begins to gain assent and popularity. And this is a very, very, very toxic dynamic in which our democracies will vortex increasingly on a set of policy issues. Because when there is broken trust, when procedurally democracy is kept afloat by the resilience of flailing but still standing institutions, but democratic culture is in trouble, citizens don't feel like they're engaged in a common national conversation together, then what often happens is that it's impossible to detach the observation that something is really not working from sort of bogus and very destructive commitment to false solutions that are being offered that are more damaging not just than the current solutions, but than the crisis, more damaging than the crisis or the challenge they're trying to solve. Now, the only way to beat this is to wake up and be hypersensitive to the extreme danger of constructive political actors offering solutions that don't work, and the extreme political danger of constructive political actors feeling they can outsource policy issues to experts when there's such a degree of sentiment and animation about these issues in the country that the country needs to be consulted, and the solution needs to be a solution that's inclusive of both the feelings but also the opinions of citizens, not just expert judgment about what will work best. Right, as my public intellectual colleague John Gray importantly says, these kinds of technocratic expertise solutions to policy only work in a fairly stable, fairly converged politically, fairly trusting society. When you've got polarization and a breakdown of trust, you should be very conservative to outsource highly controversial issues to, if you like, technocratic method, expertise-based solutions. You actually need solutions that are, if you like, in a procedural way, outcomes of robust public engagement and inflected by, right, the democratic inclinations of citizens, whether you like them or not, so long as these inclinations are minimally responsible, right? So what's really, really toxic here is that when we fail to democratize issues that need to be now democratized and not just technocratically solved, we get toxic actors like Elon Musk coming along and bringing it about that a lot of people are falsely persuaded about solutions that are far more destructive than the current solutions we have, which are failing, and far more destructive than the state of the problem itself, perhaps. Or at least would make the state of a problem itself worse or lead to even worse things than what the problem represents now. Okay, enough, lots of love, talk soon.